Welcome.
Thank you.
How's everybody feeling? Did you get your dance on? Feed your values a little bit? So I know that some people will probably be arriving as we go through the first part of, well, not really the first, the second part of the evening. Because we really already started, right? Oh yeah. We've always begun. So first I just really want to welcome all of you here tonight. And just take a moment to look around the room. Just everybody take a moment. Look at who's here. This is our community. Everybody is so good looking. And so filled with so much beauty and magic and yumminess. And what an honor it is to share this evening with you. And an honor for me to be here to share with you. And what we have set up for tonight, how many of you have never been to the Serenity room before? Awesome. So this is a beautiful, intimate space that was conceived and put together by Salah, the man over here in black. Yes, that. And he also birthed a beautiful vision called Karmageddon, which is what's bringing us all here tonight. And I want to introduce him to share with you that vision.
Thank you. I'm honored to see all of you. I've seen you outside in the community, and many of you haven't been to this room before, and it's really quite an honor to have you here. This room is part of an organization that was founded a couple of years ago. It's called Recovery Coaching Center. And it's a non-profit Florida organization. It's all about people helping people, you know. Karmageddon as a vision started sometimes last year. There was a lot of talk about the end of the world. You guys heard about that? So, yeah. Can I borrow some money? I'll pay you next year. No, they talk about the end of the world and Planet X and the polar shift and the Mayan calendar ended, right? And what else? A lot of things were happening, right? And they talked about the Armageddon and how the world's going to end. And I was talking to people and seeing what people are doing in the community today and for a lot of years. And I realized that, you know what, the way things are going, the way that we're doing what we're doing, the light workers, the healers in the community, the world's going to end. The world as we know it is going to end. It's going to be a karmic shift. If you look around, you're going to see a lot of seeds have been planted. A lot of people are doing things to heal and help the community. People helping people. You don't always have to be doctors, bishops, rabbis. They don't have to be anything but just another human being cares and helps another human being to change and shift the karma of this world. It could be the guy that helps you with your groceries at Publix. It could be that old lady that just smiles and says good morning when you pass by her. It could be anyone that really cares and knows that this world we can, with our effort, with helping each other, it could be a better place. So I believe that instead of the Armageddon, we're going to have Karmageddon. And that's what we're talking about. And the idea of those events that we've been having is not, we're not introducing a new concept. We're just honoring the people that have been doing this already. We're just bringing awareness to what everybody's doing in the community, from Rabbi Mark and we have Val, of course, right here. That we're going to honor her tonight. We're going to talk about that a little later. We have a lot of people that have already been doing all this work. We're just letting them know that we care. We're letting them know that they're not alone. And they're part of a bigger community. And that's what we're doing. Every couple of weeks, we bring someone here. We have a similar party. And these are all free events, of course. This is a non-profit, which non-profit doesn't mean, it means it's profit for all. everybody will profit from it. So, and then the big event is going to be in October. We booked TY Park. We're going to have it October 20th. We're hoping that we'll have 2,000-3,000 people and hundreds of light workers, and we're just going to be like a huge day event to celebrate everything. And I hope you guys will be there. But enough about me. I'm just going to give we have a whole night planned, and like I said, tonight this is Val's night. So she planned the whole night. She really does a lot of things for you, and she's bringing her community here to honor her community as her community honors her and celebrate that karmic shift that we're all having together. So let's give Val a big hand, and we'll give her a big hand.
Thank you so much, guys. This is, did that say it? Did that say it all? Woo! I mean, that's it. It's like exciting and beautiful and mysterious and just an honor to share this journey with all of you. And I know so many of you, we've had so many experiences together, so many beautiful moments and crazy moments that have shown us who we are and how we connect and what's alive in us. And I would like to invite a dear friend of mine up right now, Joda. Most of you know Joda. Joda is an absolutely beautiful being, inside and out. And he, like very few people I know, never ever says no and just gives and gives and gives and gives from his heart endlessly. Every moment of his life, he's like such a giver. Joda, you're a beautiful being. We honor you and love you so much. Thank you. Joda discovered his service to the world as a healer, and some of you know he makes didgeridoos. He also teaches you how to play, and he does healing sessions, and he's always available. So if that's something that's interesting to you, we have Joda. And right now he's gonna gift us his beautiful heart, and he's gonna be playing the didgeridoo for us in an opening meditation. Right? So we've been a little bit running around in high energy, and so now I'd like to invite all of us to just get into a comfortable sitting position. And just take a moment to allow ourselves to become very present. So just shake it off, shake it out a little bit. Close your eyes. Take a full, deep breath. Inhale. Bless you. And exhale slowly. And again, inhale. And exhale. Just bring your awareness inward. To that breath, to the natural rhythm, to your heartbeat. And just allow whatever is alive for you to make itself known. Allow that vibration to dance with your being. With every breath, becoming more and more present to this moment, this divine moment. You are alive in a living world, interconnected, interdependent, in every moment, in every breath. You are part of a powerful community, part of a profound transformation, an awakening, becoming more alive every moment. Feeling that vibration alive in you. We are part of a powerful community, walking hand in hand into the future that we dream. We are the creators. We are that divine energy. Every moment is a choice. Every moment is a choice. Inside each and every one of us are gifts. Gifts beyond anything we could even imagine. Gifts that the world needs. What is alive in you? So take a full deep breath together. Inhale. And exhale, just sigh. Inhale once again. And exhale, laughter, let it go. Ah, what a beautiful moment. What a beautiful moment. And when you feel it, go ahead and open your eyes if you haven't already.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for your gift. Thank you for sharing your gifts with us all the time, so abundantly, so freely, Joda. I love you.
Love all you guys. We love you.
One love.
Thank you, Joda. And each one of you guys, once more, look around the room. Once again. Look at who's here. Look at who felt the call.
What up, y'all?
Every moment is a choice, and you chose to be here. Each one of us chose to be here tonight to celebrate this beautiful community, to celebrate this beautiful life, to share in, what's it called? Karmageddon? What's that? What is this all about? I don't know, but I'm going. You want to come? So let's let the night unfold. Continue to unfold.
Where there's welcome to Karmageddon, there is one pledge we have to do to be part of this, and it's just a personal pledge. You don't have to promise anything to anyone. It's just a promise or something for yourself. It's written on the back of this card. I don't know, my eyesight is shot, so I can't really read it. Probably you can, but Val's going to read the Karmageddon pledge. I put that together a while back, and we'll gladly repeat after her, and whenever she's ready.
Are you ready? Ready. Take this pledge. I believe that. Love is the most powerful healing force in the universe.
Love is the most powerful healing force in the universe.
Everyone and everything on earth is interconnected.
Everyone and everything on earth is interconnected.
And that our well-being is linked to the well-being of others. We are each other's teachers and healers. And hereby, I make a personal commitment. To form alliances in a Karmageddon. To connect, inspire, and empower all people. Through personal, spiritual, and social transformation. Into leading a conscious evolution. Toward a more peaceful and compassionate world. Aho.
Welcome to Karmageddon. Now, this is about honoring the light workers in our community. And needless to say, Val is one of the most respected and most recognized light worker, leader. And you guys are the evidence of that. So here, right? So what we usually do is we bring the light worker here and we do a little interview. And really the interview is not it's not like about their business. It's not about a promo for anything. It's not about trying to sell you anything. It's really about finding out who the person is. You know, there's something that is saying that I like to remember all the time that says that mystics are not different kinds of human beings, but every human being is a different kind of a mystic. And to let's honor the mystic tonight that we have with us. Let's honor Val. And I usually sit here and ask a lot of questions, and before the interview, I email or I send or I let people know what kind of questions I'm going to ask him. But Val waited and waited and waited, and just on her way here, I put something on Facebook, and she didn't get it until she was here with me. So she doesn't know much about the questions, and but which is okay. And and usually I do the interviewing, but I always want to make sure this is not about me. It's really about everybody else. It's about what we're doing. It's about the community, about the healing. It doesn't really matter. It has nothing to do with any face or any person or anything. It's just it's a wave that's going around. Early on, how we could do this earlier on today. Where's Carson? Was it? Here we go. Okay. He was right there. He came in and he brought some hummus, and he says, "I brought some hummus today for the potluck." And I said, "Wonderful. It wouldn't be a party without hummus, especially for me, right?" And he looked and he asked how many, like something about how many people and stuff, and he says, "I should have brought more. I don't know if this is going to be enough." And I said, "You just remind me of the story of the stone soup." And I said, "You know, I'm sure you guys heard that story over and over and over, and that story is really about what I am doing or what we're doing." The story of the stone soup was, really quickly, it was about, there was a village somewhere, and the people were always afraid to share the resources with anyone, even with each other. And they had a lot of greed, and they didn't want harm. And they didn't like strangers. And when somebody passes by, they kick them out. They call out pitchforks and say, "Get out of here, we don't have food, we can't feed you, what do you want from us?" And then one night, somebody came and they tried to do the same thing. He says, "No, I came here to feed you. I came here to help you. Yes. What do you have?" He says, "Oh, I'm going to make the best soup in the world." "What kind of soup?" He says, "I have a stone soup." "What is that?" He says, "I'll show you. Bring the biggest pot that you have in the village and come near the river around sunset, and we're going to make a stone soup." So he came near the river, he brought the biggest pot, he stood there and he went around and he started picking up some stones and washing them and cleaning them and putting them in a pot, with some water. And there was fire, and he comes back, when the water was a little warm, he would taste it and say, "Oh, it's really good, but you know what, we're missing some salt. Anybody has some salt?" Somebody says, "Okay," and he brought some salt. "Really good, onions would be great." Somebody went and brought some onions. He said, "Oh, carrots," and on and on and on. Everybody went and brought something. And at the end of the evening, they had the biggest soup they've ever had, the most delicious soup, and everybody was fed, and there was plenty of leftover, and so that's what we do really, is, I would just make a stone soup, but you guys bring all the ingredients, and that's why you guys are here. This is about you. And since this is about you, we happen to have the first honoree that we had here in this room, for this event, which is Rabbi Mark Lepowitz. And we had the last honoree that we honored here at the end of last month, which is Ash Ruiz. They're sitting like side by side. And it's really a coincidence, like they're really here today, because what Val doesn't know is I'm going to ask them to come and interview her. So let's welcome them. Okay, let's honor Mark and Ash. Give him a hand. It's not about me.
Ooh, it's gonna be juicy tonight.
It's so much fun!
I know what you're thinking. You give the rabbi a microphone and he's going to sermonize all night, but I promise you that's not going to happen.
But I would like to point out,
Well,
he's representing Love Tight.
we have a word in Hebrew. The same word for love is to know. And I'm excited just to get to know you. And I want to, I'll ask a question I think that came up during your meditation. You said you led us through a vision of holding hands, walking into the future of our dreams, of our vision. What does that vision, what does that dream look like for you?
that dream looks like this moment. It really looks like this moment. I think that we are in it. We're living in the creative process. We're living in the unfolding. We're living in the mystery in every moment of our lives. And we're hand in hand. We're sharing community. We're learning from one another. We're becoming more and more powerful every second because we recognize how much we have to teach and how much of a student we are. And I see it happening all the time. It's such an inspiration every time we gather. So the future to me looks like this, which is why I asked twice for us to look around the room. Because it's so important for us to take a moment to really take it in. We move so fast in life. And every now and then we just need to take a moment and look around and take a breath for the amazing amount of things we have to be grateful for. We are living that future vision right now. That's what I feel. So it looks just like this moment.
Salah gave me a list of questions. My handwriting is like chicken scratch. If you want to check it out.
Oh, yes, this is really wonderful. They're almost like notes I can just sing. Well, a question is arising from my heart right now. I have a question. As I look at your beautiful mother here, I'd like to ask you, what was the first thing you learned from her? You know that moment, it's like, I'm really learning something from my mother. The first thing, because I'm right at that moment, so, the first thing you learned from her, and the last thing you learned from her. Until now.
I learned so much from that mama. The first thing that comes to mind, when you said what's the first thing, I can't really say as it, going back to my childhood, but the first thing that came to mind, and then the last thing that comes to mind is that. Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind is my mother is this amazing woman who was so filled with love and a heart that, talk about expand love, it's just huge. And when I think of my mom, I think of her laughing. And so the first thing that comes to mind, the first thing that I can say that I have learned from my mom is to laugh with abandon. To laugh, just be big about it, be huge about it, be silly about it, be free about it. Because she's so free and so huge and just so beautiful in her ability to love. And to laugh, and to just enjoy happiness in that moment. So that's huge for me. Yeah, I mean, really, like, anytime I think of you, Mom, I just see you laughing. That beautiful laugh of yours.
We need tissues.
So thank you for that, because I feel like, I actually grew up with my father primarily. My parents were divorced when I was 6 years old. They got divorced, and I have a younger sister who stayed with my mom, and I grew up with my dad. My dad is very intellectual, analytical, heady, in a more heady space. My mom is a heart, connects more to the emotions, and so that is something that I find is very alive in me. As far as, when we say, what do we pick up from our parents? That's something that's I'm that big character too. And that big laughter and that big, ball of energy. So that's it. It's laughter. And then the other thing is, as I said earlier, is that unconditional love. I mean, like all of us, we've experienced so many moments in our lives when we needed someone or something right in that moment, and it's always been my mom who has just shown up and given everything she has with such unconditional love. And there have been some moments, Mom, when I just turn around and there you are, holding me, supporting me, loving me, gifting me everything that's inside of you. even when it's challenging for you, when I know that it really isn't, you know, in those moments. So your ability to love so unconditionally is the other gift that I want to say that is alive in me as well. You know, just when I think about unconditional love, I think about you. I love you.
That's good, thank you. That was a great question.
Like a mom.
Mom thinks that's a good question.
It was a good question.
That was funny. Thank you for choosing the moment.
In your home right now, on the shelf in the dining area, there's a house, a little dollhouse. And I remember when I asked you, I haven't smoked pot in a very long time. I remember when I asked you about that house, and you said, my father and I built that together. And, you know, my father and I would never know how to do that. I don't know how to begin doing that. Jews don't build things. We pay people to build them. We buy it on sale and we brag about it and pay retail. I wanted to, you know, sometimes it's too late to write the story of our lives, and a rabbi or a priest has to do it when it's time to write the eulogy. And I want you to tell me a story from your childhood that is as poignant as that house, if you don't mind.
Go back to the question.
Holding space to see what comes through. There's a lot of things alive in there. What's coming to me is interesting. It's not so much a story about a relationship with my family. It's more of a dream that I had that has stayed with me my whole life. And it's the first dream that I remember having. I don't know how old I was, and I can't tell you for sure that it was my first dream. It's just the one that I remember when I look back. And it's less filled with details as it is an impression and a moment that has just stayed with me. And later in life, I've reflected back and said, wow, that was in me all the time. So here's the glimpse, the image of what I remember. My mother, in my dream, was taking me into a room that was a zoo. It was an inside zoo. And we walked into this room, and the door shut behind us, and there was nobody else in there, but there were lines of cages along each side of the wall, and inside the cages were animals, and the animals were making, a lot of noise. This is now the child impression, so they were just this tremendous amount of sounds and cries coming from the animals in the cages. And I stood there, and I wanted all the cages to be opened. Right then. I was so scared because they were wild animals in these cages, but I wanted the cages opened. And I closed my eyes in my dream and I made it happen, just somehow magically. And when I opened my eyes,
I was alone, and I was in the room, and the doors were open to all the cages, and all the animals were gone. And the lights started blinking on and off, and I had so many emotions running through me. I can't even tell you one because I felt everything at one time. And that is an impression that has stayed with me my whole life. You know, I want to say I was 3 years old, but I don't even know if we make memories yet until we're 4 or 5. So I must have been about that age. Later in life, you know, I've been an activist for a really long time. And, you know, bless that word. Because a lot of times the mainstream looks at the word activism and it has a negative connotation. Oh, they're an activist. Have you guys felt that, had that impression before? Well, I've been an activist for a long time. And one of the things that really affected me most in my early 20s, mid-20s, was learning about slaughterhouses and the plight of animals go through because of our perception, because of the way that we feel separated, the way that we feel that we own the earth, that humans are separated from the natural world, and so everything is here for our use, and that means our exploitation. And so we see them as animals. We don't even recognize ourselves as animals as well, right? We're also animals. We're part of this, you know, the evolutionary dynamics of the universe. We all came from that single cell. We all came from that mystery that gave birth to the universe. But we forget. It's inside of us. But the conditions of society teach us differently. So, you know, we're struggling in an old paradigm, an old worldview that doesn't suit us anymore. And when I really recognized what was happening, how we were treating animals, and I ate everything. You know, I grew up eating meat and eating everything. But when I really got it, somebody, you know, said, "Oh, you should watch this video. You know, do you know what's going on in the world?" And I really didn't. I never questioned it. There was a point that I never questioned it. You know, I went to the zoos and I did this and I did all that, and it wasn't in my awareness to question the assumptions that that was true and right and good. I didn't even think of anything about it until it was brought to my attention. And when it was, my first reaction was, "Oh, you know, like, it's the food chain." You know, it was that bottled response. The one that we're taught to say. You know, otherwise you're woo-woo and you're an activist. And so, when I walked away and I really sat with it, I got that it was affecting me really deeply. It was hurting my heart. And I just started crying. I was crying. I cried so hard. And that moment was me releasing my attachment to the idea of what was right and true. And it made me question everything that I thought was right and true. It made me question everything. And I made a vow to myself to stop eating animals right at that moment because I felt like that was the most compassionate choice I could make every day of my life. Every time I sat down, I wasn't supporting an industry that recognized that as okay. You know, and it's all a personal choice, and I'm not getting on a soapbox, just sharing my experience about that. So, what also came to me in that moment when I was releasing and just recognizing what was real for me was that dream. I remembered having that dream, and wow, like, it wasn't something that I thought about a lot, but it was something that I really always remembered. Oh, that was my first dream. I don't get it, but now I do. You know, and so a childhood memory, you know, that's a memory that has stayed with me in such a powerful way that all of a sudden made so much sense in my life and has unfolded in such a powerful way ever since. You know, activism to support other animals became activism to support all animals, which includes humans, which became activism to support the earth that holds us, you know, and my plight as a deep ecologist and my passion for and love of life, all life, you know, that was a real turning point in my life. So that childhood memory is just always present for me. Thank you for that question.
I love that you brought up activism. You do it with such grace, and such beauty, and such sweetness, and such clarity. yeah, this is the question. So I'm sure it's evolved over the years. What would you, the sacred activist that you are now, tell yourself as a beginning, as starting out activist? What would that conversation sound like?
Thank you for asking that question, because I really do want to share this, actually. My whole life, you guys, I'm sure you've heard of like personality types. You know, we have something that we kind of dominates who we are. You know, we all have our unique personalities, and there's patterns in that. There's patterns in everything. For me, it's been the sense of leadership. I've always kind of taken on that role. And when I first had this awakening, you know, and just recognizing that my connection to life and wanting to do something about it, so many emotions came out for me. It was really uncontrollable. I was so emotional. I was so freaking angry. I was so mad, and I looked around and I'm like, how do you not know this? Do you see how are you eating that? Do you know what happened to that animal? I mean, like, it became very preachy, and I had so much emotion. I was so angry, and I took that leadership role right away. So the person that my boyfriend at the time, he's the one that introduced me, actually. He was a vegetarian, and you know, we agreed to become vegans together, and we just like fired each other. He was super fiery also. So there was no balance, there was no temperament there. And so we created an organization called Rattle the Cage Productions, which we still have. I'm the vice president of Rattle the Cage Productions. Still, it's, you know, out there. And we started getting really involved in the community, and what that led to was, and this is going to answer the question in a powerful way, we went to do an action at the Miami Aquarium. Some of you know this about me, most of you probably don't. And we went down to the Miami Aquarium because Lolita, who is now the longest living captive orca at this aquarium, it was Mother's Day, and we went out there with a local animal rights organization called ARF to go inside incognito and stand up in the middle of the show and start screaming and yelling that this is wrong, this orca belongs in the wild, and like start spitting out truth to wake the people up that were sitting there with their kids getting splashed and, you know, celebrating Lolita in a very selfish way, but in an ignorant way, which doesn't mean stupid, it just means they're not aware. So we did. We went inside. A moment came when they said, now if you're really quiet, you can hear her talk. And as soon as they did, the music, back and back, that crazy music went down, and we looked at each other, because there were like 5 of us eyeing each other from across the stadium, and we stood up and we took off our shirts, and we had Free Lolita written on our t-shirts. And we started screaming, this is wrong, this orca belongs in the wild, blah, 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 all this stuff, right, all this stuff. And the security guards coming, and we're running around the stadium so they can't get to us. And we had one person in there who was videotaping the whole thing, you know, just in case. It was crazy, actually. It was really exciting, and it was also so crazy. And I remember that they ended up pulling us out, and the one security guard actually threw Tim down the stairs. Like, it was horrible. And we got part of that on video, which later became a whole another story. But as we were walking out, the guy who pushed him, you know, was escorting him, and this other guy had my arm really rough. Like, I had bruises on my arm later. I was so angry that I literally punched the guy who had Tim, who was in front of me. I literally punched him in the back so hard. I was so angry at the whole thing. And there was just so much anger in me. There was so much anger, and I didn't know what to do with it, you know. And they escorted us out, and we decided right then to make a documentary film. And we did. And so we used that footage from that, and we interviewed people right there, and we ended up on this entire plate for about a month in the Pacific Northwest, following Lolita's story. We made a documentary called Lolita, Slave to Entertainment. And we won Telly Awards. It's been all over the world. We used to speak at conferences and film festivals, and it consumed 2 years of my life, like, incredibly. And it was, the reason that I'm telling this is because I had so much anger when I first started. And then channeling it into making the film, and then channeling it into education. I even remember the first time I was interviewed by the media. You know, I took so many courses on activism and how to speak to media after the case. When I look back at that first interview, I was so angry. Like, there was just so much anger. I realized over time that that was the best way for me to turn everybody off of what I was trying to say. It was the best way to push them away and to close them off from hearing the heart of the message. That kind of anger. And we used to, every single Sunday, for 4 months, we were outside the Miami Aquarium. Every Sunday. And we had a blow-up orca, we had a cemetery with dolphins' names written on it that had died in the aquarium. Very visual. And when we made the film, we actually would go there when schools were doing field trips, and we would hand them for free to every car that went into this aquarium. And I noticed that some of the people, the activists, the younger activists that would come out, would have that anger in them. I saw it. I saw it in them because I had seen it and experienced it myself. And I watched them, and I remember one day this guy was screaming at a car, a woman with her children. And I pulled him aside and I said, listen. And I just shared my story. And I don't know, what he took from it, but what I would tell the younger me, was, it's just that, if we want to reach people, the best way to do it is with love, with compassion. When I felt all of that and I didn't know what to do with all those emotions, it came out as anger, but once it settled, once I realized that what was really happening for me was that I was falling in love with life, falling in love with these non-human animals, falling in love with nurturing a harmonious relationship, then everything I did, every time I taught, every time I spoke, every time we did a film festival or a conference, wherever I was speaking, it came from a place of love. And then I noticed people really listened. They really listened. And they were moved. And they were inspired. And they wanted to get involved. And they felt compassion for the animals. And it brought tears of joy and love and sadness, but from a space of wanting so deeply. It was so much passion in our hearts to care for life and to celebrate that together as a community, awakening to our interconnectedness, to our wholeness, to the truth as I feel it. That truth that vibrates from me, that we are all one, not just humans. That all of us are woven together in this fabric of life. That all of us are experiencing this sacred dance. And that everything is what it is because of everything else. And we have to honor that in ourselves and in each other and in all life. That's really the heart of Expand the Love, you guys, The heart of Expand the Love is really about celebrating that falling in love with life. Falling in love with life. Not just loving it. Being in love with it.
I know this is during the night. I just want to share with you, I can relate only because I used to canvass for Greenpeace. And I remember, I was so, they would send me into the wealthy neighborhoods because I have short hair. I look like a rabbi. But I would say to people, look, they're planning on setting up an incinerator like right down the street from me, which was stretching the truth, but it was true in like, you know, in some way. And I say, I would stretch it even further. I would say, yeah, and they're throwing Sharpie puppies in there. It was terrible. And because I really wanted to help to canvas the idea that incineration really is terrible. And I was doing it the wrong way. And now I've learned, and I see you found. I have to tell you, when I hear you speak, I melt. Do you feel that way? You know, I just melt. And it's a heart-opening experience. And I wanted to ask you a question in more of a broad stroke. I believe that everyone has a message. What is your message?
I just looked at Rachel with them because we actually had a little talk about this earlier tonight. The message. To get to the message, I want to share something that was a huge aha moment for me. And a source of what inspires me every moment of my life. And it drives me, it pushes me to work ridiculous hours. I was actually a guest speaker in a class at FIU. This is years ago. And we were watching a film, and a woman came on and said something. I'm going to tell you in a second. And what she said, let's just put it this way. Very shortly after, I ended up flying out to meet her and work with her for over a month in New Jersey to study with her. What she said was this: we are the universe reflecting upon itself. We are the universe reflecting upon itself. We are the awareness of the universe exploring and getting to know itself through our differentiated forms, through our consciousness. We are exploring ourselves every moment. We have an insatiable desire, an insatiable curiosity to understand. We are the mystery that gave birth to the universe. But when I heard those words, we are the universe reflecting upon itself, I already was on the path, already studying ecology, deep ecology, the philosophy, the spirituality, all of it. But that somehow, it was the most eloquent thing I'd heard. That just every cell in my body was like, yes, 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 that's the message, yes. And I looked around the room and I was like, and then I wrote it down. You were reflecting on myself. And I was like, oh my God, how come nobody else is freaking out right now? So I was done with the class and I went out and I'm like, oh my God, for sure. And I went to my friend Mike, who I used to have a band called Anacampa. He was my guitarist at the time, Spirits of the Earth. And so he was right there, like, oh, you know, the earth awareness and all this stuff. And I went up to Mike and I'm like, Mike, we are the universe reflecting upon itself. And he just kind of looked at me. Okay. And I was like, no. So that moment, like, you know, we have all of us, we resonate with, it's said so many ways. It's said so many ways, right? Like, you know, we all have the tools. There's so many different ways. That's why we all teach. We're all teachers because, you know, we're all saying the same thing. It's just different ways of saying it. We connect differently with different messages. But that for me was it. And I was so inspired by that literally her name was Miriam McGillis. And I later, not long after, went out to Genesis Farms in New Jersey, and I spent over a month studying cosmology, which is, for some of you might know, but cosmology is the story. You know, the story that we connect to that explains who and what we are. And every culture has them. You might look at a religion as a story that gives you the answer of who you are. And the cosmology that I was studying was the modern cosmology, the new cosmology, the new story that includes the evolutionary dynamics of the universe, the unfolding, the Big Bang and evolution, all that we know through science. And it finds the magic, the mystery, and the spirit inside of it. And that becomes our story. So I went out there and I studied that for a while. And that was a real pivotal moment for me. And that underlines everything I do, everything I teach, everything that I create, Expand the Love, Inspired Life workshops, all of it comes from that knowing that every cell in my body vibrates with a yes, and it drives me and it supports me, and therefore it brings me to that message, which is embrace the mystery. Embrace the mystery that you are. Recognize the divine inside of you. And don't need to know, but love the quest. Love the journey and the exploration. Fall in love with your curiosity for exploring it. Because that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to teach each other. I got this piece, what do you got? It's like we're putting this puzzle together. Of us. Of that mystery. And when you have all the answers, you're done. If we woke up and we knew exactly how that day was going to turn out, why would we put any effort into it? We don't really need to know. We just need to want to know. We just need to embrace the mystery and live the questions. And love living the questions. Get excited by the questions. Look for more questions. Because it keeps us going. So that's the mystery. That's the answer. So that's the message. That's the mystery. That's the message of the mystery. That we are that. And that's why too, you guys, it's not like I'm sharing right now my story in a sense, but it's really about all of us. Because look, we're inspired by each other. And my hope tonight is that whatever comes through, as these beautiful dear brothers of mine are giving me the Inquisition, but whatever comes through becomes an inspiration for all of you to look deeper into your own self and self-inquiry. That's what we live for, self-inquiry, to really know ourselves on that deepest level. So I hope that tonight also becomes an inspiration for everyone. What's next?
So, being that you are such a beautiful flower, fragrant with love and wisdom and clarity and deliciousness, what has been some of the richest fertilizer you've encountered in this journey?
What fertilizes me? That's for another workshop. Oh gosh, it's so good.
Something stinky.
Well, we can be.
Honestly, with Expand the Love, the vision is creating space, creating that sacred space for all of us to gather. And something that really inspires me and fertilizes me, so to speak, is the magic that happens when we come together. I am a systems scholar in a sense. My graduate work focused on systems thinking, which is really the perception that we all hold, which is the interconnectedness of life. looking at the patterns and owning them and creating change based on them. And one of the main principles of systems is that of emergence. When two or more things come together, magic happens. Unpredictable things happen, spontaneous things happen, which results in the whole being greater than the sum of its parts, which is the complete opposite idea of what science has told us for a long, long time, that the whole can be broken down into its sum of its parts. So systems, which came about 100 years ago, completely contrasted the idea of mainstream science, and we're still struggling with that in our world. You know, science tells us one thing, but that old paradigm is so ingrained in our society that we have had a hard time shifting to understand, to I would say, reconcile the new understanding with our actions. But so that idea of emergence, that idea of synergy, is what really fertilizes me. It really, really inspires me. That when we create the space and we come together, people meet. And from that, they fall in love, they get married. Michael and Hannah, how many of you know them? They met at Earth Dance 2010, fell in love, got married. People come together, they create projects. You know, new things emerge. People come together, they just spend time and become inspired and dance and laugh and sing and joy. Enjoy. Celebrate life. Experiencing the deep gratitude that we all have inside of us. That's powerful. That's the magic of synergy. That's the magic that fertilizes me, that gets me up in the morning when I'm working on an event and I'm exhausted. And, you know, I'm just thinking about, but what's going to happen? What's going to happen when all these people come together, you know, and dance. And dance. You know, both literally and figuratively. So that is one major thing that really inspires me and fertilizes me and nurtures me and confirms for me and allows me to celebrate my strengths and the service that I offer the world. You know, we all have strengths inside of us, and the most powerful thing we can do is own them. You know, it is not ego to say, I'm damn good at this. It's important to say, I am damn good at this. This is what I can offer the world. This is who I am. And to do it with all your heart. You know, we need that. If every single person in this world recognized their strengths and lived it fully and owned it and celebrated it and shared it with others, well, this microcosm would spread across the world. And it is. We're in it right now. So that's it. The magic, the synergy, the emergence of what happens when we come together.
Salah, how are we doing on time?
We need this room by 4:30 p.m. tomorrow night.
How is everybody doing out there? You feeling good? We're flowing, we're feeling the energy is good, solid. Should we keep going a little bit?
Yeah,
Okay.
about 25 minutes on the tape, so.
Okay. All right, awesome.
You should probably ask one of the questions that Salah put down. This one I like.
Okay.
If there are... I'll read it to you. Dear God, I can't even read it myself. So, the challenges facing the world today, if there are, and you agree that there are, and you feel that you can make some contribution towards the betterment of our world, tell us how you might and will do that.
How I am doing it? Thank you for that question. In my intellectual pursuits, you know, going through the university, I have a master's degree in ecology and education, and my main focus has been looking at perception. Because I think think that the greatest challenge that faces the world today is the fact that we don't question our assumptions about what's true. And we take for granted the status quo of things as being it. Like, this is it. You don't even think to question. Like, I never thought to question about slaughterhouses. I never thought. It doesn't occur to us to question that the things we think are true might not be so true. That might be causing pain and suffering in the world. You know, that might have dire consequences. That we don't necessarily consider in thinking about a mainstream consciousness in a Western paradigm. That we might not consider that the issues are not necessarily outside of us, but they're inside of us. The way that we view ourselves and our connection, our relationship to the natural world. So I think that one of the greatest things that's facing us today is to really look at our Western paradigm. The idea that we are separated from the natural world. The idea that everything is here to support human growth. The idea that we need to continue growing. You know, the human population has exploded beyond its natural carrying capacity. You know, some say, oh, the earth can hold all these billions of people, these 6 billion people. But we don't consider that there are other things living on this planet as well. You know, we tend to forget. We tend to not question. So, threatening our world is our worldview. That feeling, that sense, that idea, that story of disconnection. And we can see the consequences it's brought. Just look around. We have toxic seas and skies. You know, we have animals beaching themselves because of all kinds of stuff going on in the ocean that we don't even know what's going on. The things we know are just the surface of the iceberg. You know, there's people starving in the world, but there's tons of food. You know, we can control the food we put in our mouth, we buy organic, we do the best we can, but we can't control the air we breathe, and it's toxic. You know? So we're living in a world that we've created as a consequence of our paradigm. We're awakening, we're recognizing it, but these structures are so ingrained in our society, the social structures, the economic structures, the political structures, that it's hard to get past that, and we are so afraid. We're afraid of change. We have so much fear in us. And the only thing holding us back is ourselves. Isn't that always the case? And it's not usually the thing that we're afraid of, it's the idea of the thing. So we want to make changes in the world, but people aren't ready to step into that space of making a shift. They don't want to do it differently. So they keep doing more and more of the same. And we keep digging and digging and digging a deeper hole. So, you know, we're, in a sense, we're in this battle. All of us, you know, all of us on this path of transformation, awakening and awareness and insatiable desire to know and learn and grow and create. We're battling against this idea. And the best and strongest thing, most powerful thing I believe that we can do is to live out loud this truth that we know and feel in our hearts. You guys feel it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How many of you are living that truth? Right? Yes. We're living that truth. Whatever your activism is, you're engaged in it. And that's the most powerful thing we can do because our story affects so many people. It's that ripple effect. It's systems. It's patterns. We affect everybody around us. You know, you might be at a restaurant having a conversation and the table next to you overhears something you said and it plants a seed and that person goes and looks something up on the internet and the next thing you know they're taking a class that opens their mind and BAM! They're at Karmageddon. You know, we affect so many people more than we can even realize. So living that truth is the most important thing we can do because we are shifting that idea. We're showing the world that this is possible. That it's possible to live in harmony and live abundantly. That it's possible to have everything we need and more. To celebrate life and to do it with love. It's possible to be afraid and walk with that fear and do it anyway. And allow that fear to push us until we recognize that it's not the thing, it's just the idea. It's just this idea that we need to shatter. That illusion. So that's what we're up against. And the best thing that we can do is to live this truth. And that's what I'm doing. Living that truth with all my being. And when I forget, because I do have my moments, we all do, you know, I find ways to remind me. Or I call Ash. You know, we reach out to one another because we're here to remind each other what we already know. That's all. We already know it. We're just here to go, it's okay, take a breath, remember? Oh! I remember. Thank you. Right? So that's what we can do too as a community. You know, to be there for one another and support that knowing, support that vision, support that amazing ability, that amazing potential that's inside of all of us to live this truth. And that's what, with Inspired Life Workshops, Expand the Love, of course you guys are so familiar with it, and Inspired Life Workshops is that venue where, we're bringing teachers together and I'm facilitating workshops that allow us to go into that self-inquiry, to really dig deep into what's alive for us, to walk through those fears, and step into our most powerful self, so we can live it every moment and inspire each other and continue growing.
We can ask if people would like to ask her a question. Is there
Sure.
You guys, if you'd like to ask her a question, please you can step forward or yell.
Yell it out.
I met Val when she was singing in a band. Are you still singing, Val? You're awesome.
Thank you. At the moment, no, I'm not going to sing a song. We'll get to Ash. At the moment, no. But at the moment, I'm not. I'm actually going out to Burning Man though, and I'm going to be singing out there. But at the moment, I'm producing the events, bringing together the amazing singers and performers that we have. But yes, I had a band for about 6 years called Anakapa, which means Spirits of the Earth. And then I had a project with Jamie, most of you know, called Song of the Soul, which we did for a few years. Jamie was the bandmate in Here to Here with Ash. And now I'm really focused on all the other stuff that we're talking about, so fully engaged in it. And the performance side of me is always alive, and it's going to come back. I mean, I spent, we live many lifetimes, don't we? And one of my lifetimes, was really focused on performance art. That's really what I started doing throughout my whole life, really. I mean, I had a TV show for a few years. I did regional theater. I was a performer. I am still. So it's always in me. Once a performer, always a performer. And that really supports us as public speakers and as people that facilitate and hold space. So although I may not be singing technically in a band, I'm singing right now. Yeah? And in every moment, all the times hosting the events, bringing us together and being the cheerleader. So in that sense, I am. Thank you.
More questions. You can ask anything you want.
Claudia?
I'm really happy to be here, Val, and that you're sharing your soul and what you're passionate. It's really an inspiration for all of us. So my question is, I noticed that in some of the questions you used we, which was very beautiful, because you're talking about. But my question is, what really kind of wakes you up in the morning? And try to use an I statement, because I want to really hear from your heart. Thank you.
Thank you. I am in love with life. I'm in love. I'm in love with this experience. I'm in love with every single thing that I get to explore and experience inside myself. I'm in love with the fear. I'm in love with the joy. I'm in love with the moments that I go crazy and have to check myself. I'm in love with everything about this experience. I'm in love with everything that we create when we come together. I'm so in love with life. That's the best way I can sum it up, Claudia. that gets me up in the morning. The question, what's going to happen today? I wonder what's going to happen next. I love it. I love the journey. It excites me, it inspires me, I just love it. I'm in love with life. Yes!
Are you an only child, or do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a younger sister. Her name is Jennifer. She's about 5.5 years younger than me. She's married with 3 boys.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's it, the 2 of us, the 2 girls.
I have a question here.
If you had one person or any being that you came across that was yet unfamiliar with this world and this life, this little thing here, what would you tell it if you had the chance to? What would you tell it to look forward to?
You mean the child specifically?
Any baby that hasn't yet come to know this world at all? The slightest bit. If they could understand you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. He's asking if I came across any being, a child or any person, right, that was not yet sort of tapped into this, or hadn't been exposed to this, or, right, what would I say to them? Is that the heart of it? Okay. What would I share with them? Reflecting on, my approach in the beginning as an activist and how that has grown and shifted and evolved over the years, I think that something that would be really important to say is to invite them to discover who they truly are and what gifts they have inside of them to share with the world. To ask them to look really deep, and to discover what makes their heart come alive.